Mistakes. Everyone makes them. The problem is only that they can be painful and cost so much freaking time and energy. So in this video, I'll uncover all the mistakes I've made on my gym journey so you don't have to go through the same. So, when I began going to the gym, my first few months, I dropped on a very simple and basic 3 to 4 times a week full body split. And very fast, I saw some good progress. I saw the weights go up, I saw some difference in the mirror even, and I thought, man, if I'm getting progress with this little amount of an effort I'm putting in, think how much progress I can see if I put in more. You know, the more you put in, the more you get out. That's the mindset I started to build. So I started to believe more is more. And that is absolutely wrong when it comes to the gym and to your body in general. So I began training 5 to 6 times a week instead of 3 to 4 times a week. And the sessions even became longer, not shorter. So I was training 1.5 to 2 hours per session. More is more, right? And I saw some progress, we always do, but then small pains and aches started to come in. And not that long after I began training more frequently, with a lot more volume, my left knee got injured quite badly. I couldn't squat. I basically couldn't train legs for multiple weeks. I remember I had to walk around with this weird bandage and like knee warmer thing all day long that kept my knee warm and something. And when I got back, I didn't learn from it. I just thought, man, I was just unlucky. I'm just gonna try. It's gonna keep going. More is more. And very soon after, my chest tendon started to hurt. This sharp pain when I did some sort of chest pressing. And here I started to think, no pain, no gain. Because I knew if I wanted this to heal, it's gonna take some time. And then I'm gonna lose progress, right? I'm gonna lose progress. So I'm just gonna push through. I'm gonna push through and I'm gonna be right. So these were the 3 main mistakes I made. First of all, more is more. That is absolutely wrong. Then, not listening to my body. And third, thinking that no pain, no gain. So let's begin with the first. More is more. Your body needs recovery. And volume is not better than quality. That's what I've learned the hard way. And even if your muscles may grow with training 5 or 6 times a week, because they do, I've seen a lot of progress training that often. But tendons and joints recover and heal so much slower than muscle. So often it's not your muscle that are under-recovered, it's your tendons and joints. And then sooner or later, they're just gonna break, they're gonna hurt, and you're gonna injure yourself. And if I'm real with you, if you're training 3 to 4 times a week with good exercises, you choose exercises you like, you train with high intensity, and you use progressive overload, you will probably see the same progress as if you train 5 or 6 times a week. Then, not listening to your body. Yes, if you stop training, you will lose a little bit of progress. But if you feel like you have an injury going on and you're not listening to your body, you don't want to stop training or you don't want it to recover, there is a very high risk that it becomes even worse and then you may not train for multiple months. If you tear a muscle, for example, which I could have done if I just kept going, this will take multiple months instead of just a couple of weeks. And you know, if you're gone for a couple of weeks, your muscles will rebuild in like 2-3 weeks. So that's not that long, you know, 2 weeks of training, that's like nothing. And you're back on track. And then no pain or gain. If you're feeling some sort of pain when training, you're probably doing something wrong. Of course, when you're doing hard reps, it's uncomfortable, but not in like a pain sense, just, you know, feeling exhaustion, feeling tired, you know, pushing it your all. But pushing through while you're in pain, then you're doing something wrong. So quality over quantity, not more is more. Less, but with higher quality is more. Listen to your freaking body. It's better to be out a couple of weeks than being out a couple of months. And pain is gain. Uncomfortable is good, pain is bad. So after that, I actually went down to training 3 to 4 times a week again. And from nowhere, all my pain and aches were gone. I felt stronger, I felt better, and my chest started to heal. It wasn't hurting no more. I was so surprised. So I knew I was doing something wrong. But now I was fully committed to the bulk. I wanted to gain as much size and strength is possible. And I always trained, after school, after work, in the afternoon. And because I was bulking, I need to eat all the time. So what I did is, I always ate a big, fat meal right before a training session. And then when I went down to the gym just a couple minutes later, and I always felt so sluggish. I felt so tired. I felt like exhausted before I even went to the gym. And I never understood why, because I saw food as fuel. It's gonna like a gasoline for the car. If the car is full of gasoline, you can drive far. Same thing, if my stomach is full, I can push all the way. That's what I believed. But one day I remember, I was forced to train in the morning. Because something was happening. I was forced to train in the morning before breakfast. I woke up real early and I went to the gym and I felt so agile and light and just freaking ready. I was a little hungry, but the hunger just turned into hunger for more. Hunger to train even harder. I felt like a superhuman, even though I was tired because I didn't get a lot of sleep. But I felt amazing. So one thing I learned, and one thing I researched after this, is that when you eat a meal, your stomach starts working and then basically all your energy from your body will be concentrated on composing that food. Taking all the nutrients from the foods that are in your stomachs, and that will tire you out. So do not eat a big sloppy meal right before a workout. Eat a banana, eat something light, some dates, but nothing big. It's gonna slow you down. So the last mistake that I could have saved so much time if I didn't do it was that I stopped trying to improve and stopped trying to figure out my form. So in the first 2 years of training, I did more squat, bench, and I got dragged into the powerlifting community a little more, and I attended a couple of meets, and we were always filming our form. We wanted to optimize it, see if we could do more, doing the right, correct form so the lift would get approved. But then after like 2 years of training, I went more into calisthenics and more athletic training, and then I stopped filming my sets. And I remember I trained a whole year, weighted pull-ups and I couldn't do a lot of these, so I did normal pull-ups, normal dips and everything. And then I went to do weighted. And then I remember I've been getting some good results, seeing some good progress on my weighted pull-up and dips and everything, but I never took videos of my form. I just thought, man, I've been training for 2 years now, I know how this works, man, I'm a freaking G. It's starting to get a little arrogant. The ego is blinding you. And then one day, I was doing a PR and I thought, man, we gotta film this. I was doing 20 kilograms on weighted pull-ups, and my brother filmed me. And I remember looking at that video and I'm like, what the hell is this? I was doing half reps with 20 kilogram weighted pull-ups. It looked ridiculous. I felt like a retard, like a coward. Man, 1 year I've been doing these pull-ups, and now I'm seeing that I'm doing half reps. I didn't feel like doing half reps when I was up in the bar with my eyes, but when I saw it, it looked so different than how it felt. And after that, I threw off the weighted belt, and I couldn't do full reps even, not really. So I threw off the weight, and I just started to do video, film my sets. So mistake I made was I didn't film at least one set every once in a while. Especially in these big compound movements that are, carrying your whole progress. Bench press, squat, Bulgarian split squats, pull-ups, dips, and other big movements. Isolations, of course, every once in a while, but more frequently with these big and really important exercises. And with these big important exercises, you can also injure yourself a lot easier. So it's good to have the right form. So there are a lot more other different common mistakes that I'll make another video about, but these are my mistakes, the mistakes I made on my gym journey. And I didn't do a lot of mistakes because, I was surrounded by a gym community. They helped me, they uplifted me, they told me their mistakes, so I learned from them that I didn't do the same mistakes. And I want you to do the same for me. You listen to all the things I've done and you think, all right, now I'm not gonna do that. So that's everything I have for this video today. That's all the mistakes I made. And like I said, I will make another video on more common mistakes that I hear a lot of beginners make and how you can avoid those. But if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section, and thank you for watching.